always remember family, trust, and respect. Chargers fans know what I'm talking about. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Thunderstruck Podcast with Tori. I am your host, Tori Ancona, and this is episode 3 of me covering all things Los Angeles Chargers related. I'm going to talk about a little off-topic conversation real quick. Don't worry, I'll make it entertaining. But at 9:15 on a Tuesday morning of this week, I logged into Ticketmaster.com to get 2 tickets for my girlfriend and I to go see Ariana Grande's new Eternal Sunshine Tour of June of 2026. So I just voice cracked. Oh my goodness. Puberty. Yeah, June of 2026. She's coming to town in LA, and I was like, bet I'm going to try to go because, my girlfriend and I are, huge fans. 10 a.m. hits, the website refreshes, and the queue line. I realized that there were 71,000 people ahead of me. The Kia Forum fits 20,000 people. I knew I was cooked. But anyway, that's besides the point. I realized I couldn't get my tickets, and you know what? That's fine, because I knew that the resellers got me. I'm going to go to SeatGeek and actually see some reasonable prices that other resellers are going to make, and they're going to be affordable, and I'm going to get the 2 tickets that I really want. I've been a fan of Ariana Grande since 2013, and also my girlfriend really loves her, so it's going to work out, and it's going to be so good, and they're going to make these tickets really affordable, and they're going to make sense, right? 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 But anyways, after that happened, I thought of an icebreaker question to ask you guys. Leave a comment below. Who do you guys think is going to be the Super Bowl halftime performer this year? Do you think it's going to be Taylor Swift, which is the obvious favorite because, she's coming out with a new album. She made the announcement of the new album on the Kelsey Bros podcast, and the Kelsey Bros, one of them was a former football player and Super Bowl champion, and Travis Kelce is still currently in the league and also multiple time Super Bowl champion. So, people are making connections that that's going to be the obvious choice, but you also have Miley Cyrus. Maybe she comes back as Hannah Montana. That would actually slap. Dua Lipa, you got Pink, you got Ariana Grande. I mean, she has the hits to do a show there as well. Jay-Z is rumored to also pop out, and if I were to cast the performer, I would choose Tyler, the Creator. Yeah, I would. You hear that, NFL? Tyler, the Creator would be a really good performer. You hear that, NFL? Tyler, the Creator would be a absolutely amazing choice, NFL. You hear that? Tyler, the Creator would be a really good performer, NFL. You hear that, NFL? Anyway, before I get ahead of myself on my Tyler glazing, I honestly think he would be a really great performer for the Super Bowl halftime show. But also, Post Malone, could do that. He could do that. But also, I think my bold prediction, all right, is going to be Pitbull. Hear me out. Pitbull would be absolutely fire. I mean, he has the hits, he has the bangers, he has the featured artist aspect in his discography to have a really solid, fun Super Bowl halftime show. And he's Mr. Worldwide. He's bald. I mean, what else do you want? He has everything you would want for a Super Bowl halftime show. So that would absolutely slap. But yeah, let me know in the comments, who do you think is going to be this year's performer? Anyway, before I keep ranting about pop culture, I'm going to take a pause, realize what this podcast is actually about, and it's about the Los Angeles Chargers. And after the Chargers beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 1, I have been nothing but excited for the next game, which is happening on Monday Night Football versus the Las Vegas Raiders in Las Vegas. Los Angeles Chargers versus the Las Vegas Raiders preview. Let's get it. Now, this is a rivalry that, obviously hits me hard. Not gonna lie, no cap, as they would say. But, there's been some fond memories of this rivalry for a Chargers fan, and a lot of SMH, shaking my head memories for this rivalry as a Chargers fan. But anyway, I really think this is going to be a really good game. Geno Smith versus Justin Herbert. You got Brock Bowers, who was questionable to play after he suffered some sort of knee injury against the Patriots last week, but he is projected to play. Pete Carroll said so in his press conference today on September 13th. This is when I'm recording it. So yeah, September 13th, he did say that Brock Bowers, he expects him to play. So that's pretty good news. I would like to see the Titans collide. Brock Bowers versus Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen. You got Ashton Jeanty versus Amarian Hampton, but there's a bigger rivalry. What can that be? Jim Harbaugh versus Pete Carroll, a rivalry that's been very much alive since 1991 when Jim Harbaugh was, NFL quarterback for the Chicago Bears, and he, I believe, matched up against Pete Carroll's coaching staff, so that's where it began. And then, you have the early 2000s era where they were college coaches. You have Jim Harbaugh in Stanford, and then you have Pete Carroll at USC, and then you have that little dispute through the end of the game, and that really kicked off this rivalry, and you're like, wow, they do not like each other, at all. And then you fast forward into the early 2010s where Pete Carroll becomes the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, and Jim Harbaugh turns around a horrible San Francisco 49ers team and makes him a title contender. I mean, that's just what Jim Harbaugh does with any program he steps into. He's just going to make it better. And, you have a lot of rivalry games between the two coaches against 49ers versus the Seahawks. And you have the regular season victories for Jim Harbaugh, and then you have the NFC Championship game where Richard Sherman, tips it to Malcolm Smith. And then we haven't really seen a matchup like that between two coaches, I don't think, ever again until now. I mean, this is the first matchup between Jim Harbaugh versus Pete Carroll in more than a decade, and all eyes on who is going to overcome the challenges that they face, who is going to make the right play call, who's going to step up, who's not going to crumble after being down. I think it's going to be Jim Harbaugh. No bias. I think Jim Harbaugh has a defense ran by Jesse Minter. I mean, they won a national championship with that kind of scheme, so they've had some success. And honestly, the Chargers, had experience with horrible defensive play calling, right, Chargers fans? But ever since, Jim Harbaugh has been hired, he created a staff that's been so supportive to Justin Herbert, to Derwin James, to Khalil Mack, to almost any big position that we have. And I think it's going to be really interesting that, what Pete Carroll's going to bring to the table. I mean, he won a game versus the New England Patriots at New England, which the Patriots are a improved team from last year, I would like to say. So very curious to see what happens. We're going to start with the rookie running back situation. Ashton Jeanty versus Amarian Hampton. Amarian Hampton last game had some flashes. I will say I didn't expect him to actually get a lot of damage done, even though I said that he's going to run in the end zone, which that did not happen. I didn't think he was going to have the 120-yard rushing game. I really thought that, 50 yards was probably going to be the estimate because, the Chiefs' run defense is probably their biggest strong suit on defense. But he did have some first down runs. He had a rookie mistake at the end of the first half, but, he's only going to get better. I honestly think the Raiders' run defense is slightly a less threat than the Kansas City Chiefs' run defense. I mean, that's just not me being a Raiders hater. That's literally statistics. I think the Raiders' run defense gives up a little bit more than the Chiefs' run defense. So you might see Hampton more involved. You might see Najee Harris, Hassan Haskins more involved. And I'm very, very looking forward to it. I actually do firmly believe that Amarian Hampton is not going to get one touchdown. He's going to get two. I'm really big on Amarian Hampton in this game. And then Ashton Jeanty, who actually had a touchdown last game, but still slow start against a really good New England Patriots run defense. They're rookie running backs. What do you expect? I mean, you have people out the gate that was already making plays like Saquon Barkley, but at the same time, I think about Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs with this kind of scheme where it's just like, it was a slow start, but then they really picked up, and then really they have the protection and they have the run blockers ahead of them, and they make a scheme that's very comfortable for them to work with. And I think Amari and Hampton and Ashton Jeanty are going to be superstars. I honestly think that, and it pained me to see in the NFL draft that Ashton Jeanty was going to be a Las Vegas Raider, because I was like, damn, that is a hell of a pick, because Ashton Jeanty was pretty much the best prospect from that position of last year's draft. But also, don't sleep on Amari and Hampton. I mean, I know people expected him to be a second-round pick or a late first-round pick, and we got him in the late first round, and I honestly think he's going to be a workhorse. I think Jim Harbaugh, Greg Roman, and that kind of coaching scheme, I think he's going to thrive this game. He's going to get not one, he's going to get 2 touchdowns. Book it! And now I'm going to talk about the injury report. I know I mentioned earlier that Brock Bowers is going to actually play. He's expected to play. Pete Carroll said so. He had a scary little injury in his knee last game that kind of sidelined him, if I'm not mistaken. But he has a brace on, but he is willing to stick it out. So we'll see how much that injury is going to affect him. Jackson Powers Johnson, another standout guard / center for the Raiders, is also dealing with an injury himself, but he's expected not to play with a concussion injury, which could be a really big factor because of the run defense / the pass rush. How is that going to affect the Raiders offensive line? So we'll keep an eye out on that. Elijah Molden and Denzel Perryman are out. I believe Elijah Molden has a hamstring little issue, so it's nice to monitor that. We don't want him to be out for the year again, because I believe in the New England Patriots Chargers game last year, he suffered a career, not a career, thank God, but a season-ending injury. I believe it was an ankle or a knee or a hamstring. But yeah, it's something to monitor. And I think RJ Minkins or Tony Jefferson are going to really fill that role. So I'm not 100% worried of that scheme. Also, Derwin James can line up at safety, but he can also line up anywhere except for defensive tackle. So I'm still really confident in this defense. I think Deshaun Phillips, linebacker, is also questionable, but we have Marlon Wax, we have Troy Dye, we have Deion Henley. So that linebacker core, I'm still very confident that they're going to make the plays needed. Going on to the predictions, I was right on a few. Last game, I said that Justin Herbert would throw over 250 yards against the Chiefs. He threw for, 318 yards. So I would like to say I kind of nailed that. I also said that Keenan Allen would score a touchdown. And I also said the Chargers were going to win. I think Ladd McConkey is going to have a hell of a game. 90+ receiving yard game. If not, I think he at least gets 75 yards again. I think he's a threat. I think that duo between him and Keenan Allen are really going to do damage. Same thing with QJ. I think QJ is going to get over 50 yards. I think Keenan Allen is at least going to get 6 or 5 catches, or I should say 6, 7 catches. So I would like to see that. I think Khalil Mack gets his first sack. Hey, that's a bar. Khalil Mack gets his first sack of the season. And I think Geno Smith is also going to have a really good game, but he's going to throw an interception. Who do I think is going to get the pick? I think Tar Heap still is going to get the pick, who was on the injury report, but he looks like he is expected to play. I think Tar Heap still is going to get an interception this game. Book it. Score prediction before I wrap this episode up. I'm going to say the Chargers go to Vegas. It's going to be another dogfight. I mean, we are known to see this from the Chargers in primetime. We're going to make it a very close game. We're going to make it a dogfight until the end. And I think the Chargers will win versus the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to say 31-23 final score of the game. I do think that Amari and Hampton is going to get 2 touchdowns. I think Justin Herbert is going to throw 2 touchdowns. I also think Herbert is going to be really amazing on the run again. I think hopefully nobody is going to make that play called back for holding, but at the same time, I think Justin Herbert really showed flashes that he is very aggressive on the rushing attack this year. I just hope that he doesn't get hurt. Knock on wood. I think he's going to rush over 25 rushing yards. I can be very confident with that. QJ is going to do great. I would like to see more from Keandre Lambert-Smith, the rookie wide receiver from the 5th round out of Auburn, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I also think Trey Harris needs to get more targets too. I know he had that one big catch last game, which I tried to look up that highlight. Nobody's posting it. It was like a really important play of the drive. So come on, NFL, get your stuff together. Tyler Conklin will also be in the mix, along with, I hope, Aronde Gadsden gets an opportunity, but if not, it will be Tucker Fisk and Will Dissly, which did enough damage to the Chiefs to really support Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers offense. I think this defense is going to find some moments where they're going to struggle a little bit. I mean, Jacoby Myers, the Raiders wide receiver, is a really big factor. He's a star, actually. I really think he's one of the most underrated receivers in the league. And that's a Chargers fan saying that. I really think Jacoby Myers does a lot of damage, along with Trey Tucker, along with, Brock Bowers. Even though he is injured currently, I think he's still going to do damage. He's one of the best tight ends in the league. Ashton Genty, we know he can do damage on the rushing attack, but he can also definitely do damage in the passing attack with the receiving yards. I think screens, little bootlegs will really open him up. So gotta be ready for that, especially 3rd down and shorts. He's gonna get the ball. 3rd and goal at the 1, he's gonna get the ball. Just simple as that. So just be aware of that. And I really think the Los Angeles Chargers are gonna come out victorious, and they're gonna be 2-0. Yes, 2-0. Let's go, Bolts. Score prediction 31-23. You can book that, and that will wrap up the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Las Vegas Raiders preview, episode 3 of the Thunderstruck podcast with Tori. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you leave a like, make sure you follow on every single social media. It's in my YouTube bio page, so click that link and you'll see. I'll see you guys in the next episode, where I talk about the aftermath of the Chargers versus the Las Vegas Raiders. But anyway, you guys enjoy yourself and have a really nice weekend. Have a nice NFL football weekend, matter of fact. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bolt up. Peace.